Good morning, my little nerds. I am Dr. Shereene Idriss, doing this very special edition of Pillow Talk Derm from bed, finally, on YouTube, because I am wiped out. My kids are freaking out in the background, so you might hear them be screaming, singing, or losing their SHIT altogether. And I am choosing to lay down in bed to decompress and to unwind the best way I know how, which is by speaking to you. So, welcome. I am a cosmetic dermatologist based in New York City, and we are going to talk about today the evolution of aging and how to grow with it rather than fight it. So let's jump in. All right, the door is closed and the kids are hopefully on their way to passing out. And I am a happy mama, and hopefully he can get his work done. But let's jump in. And I want to do this video to really address how to approach the aging process and how to sort of think of it for yourself if you're finding yourself confused or overwhelmed by all of the options out there. This is a aging for dummies video, okay? And hopefully by breaking it down, it becomes much more understandable for you as to what it is you can do to help yourself, but also an empowering video so that you don't feel that you have to constantly fight the aging process, which is what we're constantly told day and day again through the media, through social media, through the news outlets. Anti-aging should no longer be a thing. Kids and phones are currently being ignored for this video. What bothers me the most is that we are constantly bombarded with messaging of we need to fight the aging process and you need to go down this anti-aging route, when in fact, you need to embrace the aging process and not just embrace it as in accept it and just shrivel away. Embrace it as how to make yourself look and feel your best with what you have at the point in life that you are in. Because when you fight it and when you try to go against it constantly, you end up looking crazy. So there's a couple of different pillars that I think of when I think of an aging face, and I'm going to focus just on the face in this video. Let's start with fine lines and wrinkles. Fine lines and wrinkles are usually due to dynamic movement that over time builds in onto your skin. And those are lines that can make you look angry, worried, sad, or depressed. I no joke, I'm pointing because he is not really listening, thank God. I no joke had a deep built-in line on my forehead in my late 20s. During residency, I started doing Botox only because we had to practice on one another. But for me, at 29 or 30, when I had that deep line, starting Botox once a year is what I used to do at most, actually helped alleviate me from doing that movement over and over again, and it eventually disappeared. I had that line because I was studying like a maniac throughout my whole 20s, and that's why I had that line on my forehead, a really deep one that always made me look worried or like angry. Now, I don't believe in preventative Botox when you are a fetus. When you have just hatched from your eggshell and you are like 18, 19, 20, what are you preventing? You're preventing life and you're preventing movement, and I am not here to create robots. Personally, it's just not my philosophy. I will not treat you. So know when to start. You start when you have those signs that are built in that are constantly making you look angry, worried, sad, or depressed. So that is neurotoxins like Botox, Dysport, Xeomin, Jeuveau in the US. Then we go into pillar number 2, which is loss of volume. As we age, in our 20s, our collagen production begins to decrease. That doesn't mean you need to start in your 20s, because it is not a one-size-fits-all. It depends on your underlying bone structure, it depends on your genetics, and it depends how you are evolving in life. But as we start to age and get wiser, we start to lose volume, usually around the periphery of our face. And as that scaffold that's holding up our face starts to get broken up and disintegrated, our face starts to drop, starting around our eyes. Then we get deeper folds, then we get marionette lines, and we become jowly. And this is where fillers can really help to redefine a face. And fillers range from things with hyaluronic acid, the thick, deep, much larger molecular weight hyaluronic acid compared to skincare hyaluronic acid, to Radiesse, which is a calcium derivative. Cool side fact, if you do an x-ray with Radiesse in your face, you will see it on the x-ray. To even stimulants like Sculptra that help to stimulate your own underpadding. And this is a discussion, a much larger discussion for another day, as to which one is best for you, because they are not all created equal. Fillers are like paintbrushes. In the hands of one person, you can get a completely abstract painting, whereas in the hands of another person, you can have the most realistic, detailed painting of your life. So it really depends who you go to. Now, between Botox and toxins versus fillers, it really is not a one size fits all. It depends on what your problem is. But I will say that Botox is much more forgiving in the sense that if you have bad Botox, once it wears off, you're usually okay and fully redeemed. Whereas when you have bad fillers, it's not that simple. You get used to yourself looking a certain way, which might not be ideal. And you get used to looking yourself in a quote unquote bad light. As such, you start thinking that certain proportions of your face are normal when they're in fact not very normal. And because you no longer see your old proportions, it's very easy to start getting distorted by adding more and losing sense of yourself. So when you are thinking of doing fillers, you really want to approach somebody whose aesthetic you really trust. And when I tell you, you trust, you look through every Instagram picture that they've done, and you also look at their staff members in the office, because usually the staff members in the office are treated by the physician or the provider on site, and they end up either looking like exaggerated versions of what this person is going to do, or they look like what this person is going to do to you. So just that's sort of like a litmus test. So that is volume loss. Then we get into your skin and the color of your skin. Do not underestimate the color of your skin. I would say 7 out of 10 times people come in thinking they need Botox when in fact they need their skin just to be addressed so that you can even out their skin tone. And that applies to brown spots, sunspots, melasma, as well as redness. When you even out the color of your skin, your face opens up and you look light years younger and brighter and more youthful and more radiant. When you have a lot of sunspots over time, and I'm not talking about freckles. Freckles are a genetic thing that people have as a kid. There comes a tipping point in your 30s where they start to become quote unquote messy and not ideal. But I'm not talking about normal quote unquote freckles. I'm talking about sunspots, blotchy sunspots, melasma, which is the biggest BITCH of all. Melasma sucks. I'm talking about rosacea. As you get older, the redness becomes more pronounced and more blotchy. Dealing with the color of your skin can really make you look light years more rested and just more vibrant. And how do we deal with the color of your skin? Skincare can definitely help. Topicals from over the counter can definitely help. Things with hydroquinone, arbutin, kojic acid, exfoliating with glycolic acid is a big one. I have a whole video on hyperpigmentation. You guys can scroll back and watch it, or we can redo another one at some point. But those things are super, super, super helpful. Anti-inflammatories, things with arnica are also super helpful if you don't have sensitive skin. And making sure your skin barrier is not disrupted is also extremely helpful. And the gold standard, I'm sorry, I have allergies. The gold standard is retinols. Retinols, vitamin C, those are two things that can really help your skin even out over time. And so having an even skin tone is so undervalued and such a MVP that I cannot stress that point enough. So that was number 3. And in office, you can treat them through various lasers, whether it's vascular lasers or pigmentary lasers, lasers that target blood vessels or lasers that target pigmentation. There's a whole slew of them, and we can do a deep dive some other time. Once I have my office fully up and running, I could show you guys the lasers. Number 4 is the elasticity of your skin, how much your skin bounces. And this is very much genetically predisposed, as well as a result of how much sun damage you've had in your life. And you want to keep your collagen and your skin firm and tight over time. And those are things like tightening treatments, microcurrent treatments over the counter, like NuFace or Zip, Or in-office treatments with ultrasound energy. It goes deeper, it lasts longer, and it works better. Or radio frequency energy. Alt therapy is one, Thermage is one, Vivace is one, Protege is one. There's a lot of variations of a theme, but they all kind of do similar things in the end. It just depends on which one is best suited for you. And those allow our skin to maintain their shape and form over time. So think of it as that perfect white t-shirt. After several wears, after several washes, it loosens up and becomes loose. And if you hang it on a hanger, you mess up the shoulders, and that is how your face becomes over time. So that is number 4. And last is your bone structure. And for your bone structure, as we age, our orbital rim, so the bony part around our eyes, becomes wider and recedes. Our jawline slowly becomes nothing and disappears. And the scaffold that was once holding up our face slowly thins out. And as such, everything which is shrinking and dropping and becoming looser falls around the frame. And the bad news is I can't do jack shit for your scaffold. It is what it is. That is what you were born with. That is what you were genetically predisposed to have. You can try to fortify it by taking vitamin D and calcium supplements, but you can't really fight how your bones are going to age over time. So that's a little bit of an unfortunate one. And so those are the 5 main pillars of how to think of the aging process. So when you look at yourself, throw your magnifying mirror out of the window. I hate magnifying mirrors. I effing hate them. And basically take a step back and look at your face and think of your face as one of those 5 things and try to break it down as to which one is your biggest issue. Is it lines? Is it volume? Is it color? Is it texture? Is it elasticity, etc., etc.? And it will be much easier for you to figure out what your problem is so that we can figure out what solution is best for you. I hope this video was helpful. This was sort of a bridge from your skincare routine into what you can get done in an office setting. Finding the right practitioner and dermatologist, cosmetic dermatologist for you is always essential because no 2 eyes see the same thing the same way. And you want to have somebody who shares the same, I'm lisping now, who shares the same aesthetic vision as you. I hope you guys found this helpful. I am Dr. Shereene Idriss, cosmetic dermatologist based in New York City. That is my husband working in the background. I am wiped out, but I am super excited and I cannot wait to share with you guys once my office is done in the next couple of weeks. Have a great Saturday and I will see you guys soon.